Hey, I'm Jake from the Fireside Tattoo Network, and this is our Memphis podcast series. So, what is a Memphis podcast series? Imagine for a minute if you were thinking of maybe relocating to tattoo in a new town, or maybe just doing a guest spot in a new town, and you had the opportunity to pick the brains of some of the more established artists in that town. What kind of questions might you ask them? Maybe questions about the clientele, the tattoo culture, shop environment, things like that. Well, we thought that might be a fun basis for a series of podcasts, so that's what we're doing here. We started in Memphis because it's our hometown and we know a lot of tattooers in the area and we already have a good feel for the culture. It's kind of like our beta version of this. But if you think that your town might be a good candidate for a series like this, shoot us an email at info@firesidetats.com, let us know why, and maybe we'll make your town the next stop. If you have any questions for Memphis tattooers, feel free to send those to the same address. Thank you guys, as always, for supporting what we do. There we go. There's our end. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Podcast, the official podcast of the Fireside Tattoo Network. Don't go to firesidetattoo.com because that wouldn't make sense. Go to tattooimprovement.com and sign up for our mailing list. While you're there, I don't know, buy a t-shirt, right? You can buy a t-shirt. They're cool. So we're doing... should I run through housework first? We have Nick Baxter workshop right here in this very room. He's one of the best tattooers in the business, but he's not going to be tattooing. He's going to be painting. He's going to be teaching you how to paint because you're going to, buy the workshop and come take it and paint with him and me. It is July the 30th. It's a Sunday. It's tattooer friendly because we don't tattoo on. Do you tattoo on Sundays?
Nope.
Well, you should come. He's awesome.
I will do that.
And the next day, the Monday afterwards, we're going to go out and paint. It's included. We're going to go out and do some plein air painting somewhere in Memphis. Where should we take Nick to paint in Memphis? Like
Elmwood Cemetery?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Elmwood. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I was thinking Shelby Farms or something, but yeah, that'd be way better.
Nick would love that.
Yeah, he definitely would. That's a great idea. What else? Right after that, we'll be in Hill City, Phoenix, podcasting, and I will be tattooing alongside Ty Pilata. If you want to get tattooed, I have some space available. If you want to podcast, we'll be there podcasting. And then we'll be at the Impact Project. Oh shit! Impact Project in Melissa Ferranto's. Oh come on! I'm drawing a blank. I think it's called the Impact Project. Anyways, it's like a 4-day workshop for tattooers, business marketing workshop for tattooers, and I'll be there. We won't be podcasting, but I'll be in the brainstorming rooms, maybe leading a discussion or two, maybe in the art rooms. I'm not sure exactly what yet. So all that stuff is coming up. You've ever been to Atlantic Beach? Did I say that? It's in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina.
No,
Have you ever been there?
Say that.
Okay.
No, and I haven't been there.
I haven't either. It looks cool in the pictures, though.
Yep.
I'm here with Nathan Parten of Trilogy Tattoos here in Memphis, Tennessee, and this is our Memphis series. So what we're doing here, if you don't already know, is we are grabbing tattooers from a particular city and trying to get an idea if you were a tattooer coming from another city into that city, either relocating there or just coming to do a guest spot. What might you expect when you get there? What's the community like? What's the clientele like? What's the city like from a tattooer standpoint? So since we live in Memphis, we decided to start in Memphis because that was the easiest way to go. So Nathan's at Trilogy, which has been around. How long has Trilogy been around? Quite a while now.
18, 19 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe a little more.
Yeah. How long have you been there?
Almost 16 years with a little break in between, about a 4 or 5 year break in the middle there.
Wow. So did you tattoo someplace else at that point? Or
a little bit, and I ran a bar sometime.
Oh, here in town?
Yeah.
What bar?
The Rally Point.
Sounds familiar.
I was on Highland for a little while.
Oh.
Huge dive, lots of bands.
Yeah. How was that? What was it better than? Well, I guess it wasn't better than tattooing since you went back to tattooing.
Oh, I had a kid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'll keep you from running a bar,
exactly. Huh? Working 4 in the afternoon to 7 in the morning was not going to make for a good fatherhood.
Yeah, that's tough. So you, did you start at Trilogy? Did you apprentice there?
Yes, I did.
Who did you apprentice under?
Just about everybody. Eric Cooley actually got me into it. I went to art school with him at MCA.
Oh, okay.
And he was trying to get me into tattooing when he was at Ramsey Shadow for a while. Mm-hmm. But I just kept blowing it off. And one day when he was at Trilogy, I went up there and watched him. And then all of a sudden I said, hell yes, this is exactly what I want to do. This looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. So you never tattooed in another shop at any other place? But
I did. I worked in South Haven for a little while.
What was that? What was that place called?
Illusion Inc.
Oh, okay, yeah. Carl, is that his name? Yep. Something like that. I don't know him, but I know his name.
Yep.
Is he still around?
He is. Illusion Inc. still there.
Oh wow! So that's been there for quite a while too now.
Yes. Yeah. I have no idea how long, but
it
has been.
So Trilogy, for people who don't know, is like right in the middle almost of the University of Memphis campus. So where I was at Underground Art for about 15 years or so, which was in Midtown Memphis, not really near a school, and now I'm still close to Underground, still in Midtown. So, what would you say the difference in the clientele closer to because you would think clientele closer to the university is probably going to be a lot more walk-ins, a lot more small pieces, but you guys do a decent amount of custom work too, don't you?
Yeah, I think we do, because we're near the college, have lots of walk-ins and first-timers especially out ready with mom and dad's money or their new student loan check. Freshly 18, going to get that Pinterest tattoo sort of action. But there's also, just because of the caliber of artist we have and how many years everybody there has been doing it, they have a lot of clientele that's built up. Lots of session work, large pieces.
Yeah. What's your mix of small to large pieces, large custom work, or what? Or is most everything you do custom, or do you?
Yeah, just even if it's a small walk-in, we don't really have flash all over the wall. Well, we've got some old school flash, but it's not the Pinterest stuff that everybody wants to bring in. Most of the walk-in now is a picture on their phone of somebody else's tattoo.
Right.
And so we always try to make it custom based on that. Just tell them that's somebody else's work, even if it's been seen 100 times. Let's try to do something original with it. But there's only so much you can do with a dandelion turning into a silhouette of birds.
That's true. Turn it into a silhouette of wieners. We did that once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Somebody did it once. We didn't do it, but we saw it once. So that's funny you mentioned that having a lot of old school flash, but nobody ever looks at it. I was thinking that last time I was over at Underground Art looking at the books at the bottom that have been in that order for I don't know how long. It's like so much money was spent, so much time was spent drawing that stuff, and it's so nobody gives a shit about it anymore.
No.
No one even bothers to look at it
because they're got their face in their phones all the time. So
what a waste.
You could give them their flash catalog and on an Instagram page or on Pinterest, then they would gladly look through it.
Yeah, it's just the paper that throws them off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually holding a book just completely bewilders them.
Yeah, flipping instead of scrolling is they're like, what the hell? How do I get to the next one?
They're on the page just going, it won't go.
Exactly. How
do I swipe left on this picture?
Right. I don't like that one. So if you were to do you feel like you got a pretty good relationship, or do you know a lot of tattooers outside of Trilogy around town, just because people have kind of bounced around and moved over the years?
A little bit of that, and then hanging out somewhere. But usually hanging out, I've got my sketchbook with me, and we end up talking about tattoos. Other artists, and Memphis is kind of a small town, so
it is.
Everybody seems to know everybody, or at least somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, we're only maybe Memphis and the county surrounding are maybe 1 million people or so. As far as it sprawls, so it's nowhere near we go places like Atlanta, for example, and it just seems like everywhere we look, there are great tattooers, but there are also 7 million people.
Exactly.
So it's
and it takes an hour to get across town. Where here,
not very long.
No, not very.
So what? What do you think about Memphis? About not necessarily from a clientele standpoint, but the Memphis tattoo community. Do you feel like it's fairly friendly, tight-knit?
Yeah, very much. I think they're all very encouraging. Like to uplift everybody and try to, even if there's the occasional bullshit back talk when somebody's drunk or something, of course. But I think for the most part everybody's pretty encouraging and helpful.
I've always thought so too, and I never knew. I tend to have my head in the sand a lot, I guess, because I don't know like when someone goes from a shop to a shop, or they, what, why they left this place and ended up at this place. So I never know if there is drama. I don't know anything about it, but anytime I'm in anyone's shop, they're always really friendly to me, no matter where it is. So I've never had any issues at all with any Memphis tattooers that I know of.
To the point where I've had artists, and I've done this for other artists, like somebody comes to you with an idea and you say, actually, you know who would be better fitted to that style you want is so-and-so.
Yeah.
You should go check them out. Or,
Yeah, even if they're not at Trilogy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, I don't know how quickly other towns came to that, but I felt like we were doing that here fairly early on,
I agree. Yeah, I mean, tattoo artists being kind of looked down on as the pawn shop and palm reading community, probably helped us click together a little, be a little more supportive like that too.
Probably so. What do you think as far as like if you were to draw a line and think about, Trilogy being an upper level kind of custom and street shop, Underground obviously being a custom shop, no regrets here in town, but there are a lot of shops around town, like say up and down Summer Avenue or in different areas that I don't know any of the tattooers. I never see the work. If I see the work that comes out of there, I don't know it, but they don't seem. It seems like there's a definite line in the community, in the tattoo community. There's an upper level of tattooers that I think are all very friendly and supportive of each other. And then to me, it seems like there's another kind of group of tattooers that maybe they are as well, and I just don't know.
Same here. Maybe I just don't know them, but I was very surprised when I found out there's a lot more shops around town than I thought there were.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how many?
Close to 40 in the surrounding suburbs and Memphis and together.
I would struggle to name 10.
Exactly. And there's like one shop I think that has 4 locations. And I've heard referred to as an apprentice factory. Yeah. Where they just like to bring you in, make you work, put you to work, get that money. I think there is definitely it's not a thin line between the higher end shops and those other ones. Yeah. And there's a big jump. I mean, there's the $20 minimum and $60 minimum. There's the $200 tap out special.
Tap out? What does that mean?
Yeah, there's a shop in town that offers the $200 tap out special. They give them $200 and they will tattoo you for as long as you can take it.
Really?
Yeah.
The tap out special. I've never heard of that.
Which just sounds to me like they're inviting the artist to put you through it until you tap out.
Right, yeah.
Or that the artist is not going to really care after a certain point because...
Yeah. Wow, I've never heard of that. Crazy. I wonder if any of those tattooers from those shops find themselves moving up to some of the custom shops now. Do you know many people that came out of some of those shops?
I know a few people that were apprenticed at certain shops like that just because apprenticeships are hard to come by. And so you get desperate and you'll take what you can get. Yeah. And then they realize after a while, wow, I've really stepped in it here. Yeah. And I'm not learning shit. And maybe I need to move along.
I've always felt that we have enough good shops in a tight knit enough community that potential tattooers, apprentices, whatever, have a leg up because if they're willing to put in the work, then typically someone will give them a shot. But we talk to people in other towns, especially small towns, who are in that exact boat, like dying to be tattooers, learning everything they can, however they can. But there are 4 shops in town, and they're all apprentice factories.
Exactly.
Do you guys remember the one not too long ago, and the guy said that he was working the shop that the dude that started the shop, that owned the shop, had been tattooing like 3 years, and he had 6 apprentices, and he's a 3-year tattooer and a shop owner, and he's like, that's my option to tattoo around here. And he was upset about is that is how we're so set on apprenticeships, and he's like, I'd love an apprenticeship, but man, I mean, like, I'm willing to learn however I can learn. So he's looking for online lessons or whatever he can, and then he's getting bashed for that.
YouTube.
Yeah. So he's just like, man, I'm not trying to like do it the wrong way. I just don't have a choice. He's like, I guess kids there in the town or something like that couldn't leave, dying to be a tattooer, and I'm sure that's super common. I've no doubt that that's how a lot of the shops that we're talking about end up with a steady stream of.
And then there's shops that'll charge $5,000 for an apprenticeship, and I didn't pay a dime for mine. I worked my ass off, and it cost me working that long, but I didn't drop $5,000 right off the bat, and I think charging like that's going to limit your artist dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. The schools seem to be, a lot of these tattoo schools are incredibly expensive.
I'm not sure what I think of that.
I don't know. I feel like they're really getting a bad rap, but I feel like they're still early enough on that we just don't know. I've seen stuff going around Instagram now. In Oregon, they've decided there are no apprenticeships anymore. You can only do schools. And so, but there's continuing education. They have to get so many hours, like you're an insurance agent or something. Like you have to continue to learn. So,
well, if it's done right, then I think more power to them. But I think I heard of a tattoo school here in town. It was open for maybe 6 months. It seemed like it was a tattoo shop that was failing and decided to become a school.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest concern. Yeah, that's got to be the biggest concern. It doesn't surprise me it wouldn't surprise me at all to see that being the hurdle that tattoo schools have to get through. And how much regulation do we want from? I mean, we already deal with the health department enough. How many decisions do we want them making for us?
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know, but I have seen a lot of stuff going through Instagram, like Oregon's dead for the tattoo world because they'll never, they'll be crap from here on out or stuff like that. And it's like, well, I don't know, man. That seems like really dismissive really quickly.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some artists that are going to push through and do it right. But there's going to be some artists that just have the natural flair for it and can just a machine hits their hand and they just make magic.
Yeah.
And everybody hates them for it.
Right. So let's move on to the clientele here in town. If you had, and I know it's hard to just lump an entire city of 1 million people into a single type of clientele, but the people that you deal with on a regular basis, pretty dead set in their ways of what they want, and bargain shopping, or really open to suggestions and just want great work and are thinking about price second, or what do you?
Yeah, you definitely got maybe a half and half mix, but I think for the most part, everybody I've come across is pretty flexible. As long as you're not an asshole and tell them, no, what you want is stupid. You have to kindly tell them what you want is ignorant and give them a better option, or explain to them why it won't work. And most everybody, I think, around here is pretty open to just letting the artist do what they think's best. There are some people that, I want this white thing on my finger right here. And explain it to them over and over again that that's stupid and it's not going to work. And then eventually they come back after they get it and they say, why did it fade and turn brown? It's because you weren't listening.
Right. The same reason the first time I told you.
Yes. I think there's definitely a lot of collectors in Memphis. There's people who want really good work. There's people who want beautiful artwork, and then there's people who want this thing because they turned 18, or they want this thing because it's this special day, and I'm not hating on those people either.
And I feel like as we do this series, I don't know that we'll find. I think that's probably going to be the answer. From any town, no matter what. I think there's probably an equal mix of people. I would say though, as a whole, clients are more willing to listen to why something won't work, more willing to break something up into a couple of sittings, just because they understand the idea a little more of like layering and how we whatever it may be. If you want this, if you love watercolor tattoos so much, it might be cool if we got a second pass and got those blends and like came in and noodled in the second. People are a little more open to that than definitely than they were when I started, and probably than they were 5 or 6 years ago even.
Absolutely. I think people are starting to understand this is a minor medical procedure where we're asking your skin to grow back a certain way, and that you're going to have a small part in that by healing it properly.
Right. Do you travel much? Do shows? I know you've got
no
single parents, so you don't get to do much of that at all.
I travel to, amusement parks and
Yeah.
campgrounds.
Yeah. Does Molly, right?
Yes, Molly.
Is Molly into tattooing at all?
Yeah, she's actually drawn a couple for me.
Really?
Yeah, I've got her growth chart started right up here on my side that we're adding a bunch of her drawings to, but I've had a few people that know her that she's drawn pictures, and they said, "Oh, I really like that." And I said, "I could put it on you."
Huh. Well, that's
Yeah.
cool. So she draws pretty regularly?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had an art show a few years back. I'm working on another one where she does a lot of drawing on top of my paintings and vice versa.
I think maybe we talked about that when we were. So
At
we
Adam
did.
Shaw's,
We did. So you guys all know Adam. He was on the show a lot, and we actually met doing life drawing at Adam's studio. And I remember us talking about that. You bringing that up at some point there. That's cool. I've been wanting to get Max, my 7-year-old, to actually tattoo me, but I haven't. He hasn't drawn anything yet, and I'm a little nervous. Has she tattooed you?
No, not yet, and I'm definitely nervous about that. Yeah.
So do you feel like you get enough kind of like just being involved in the Memphis art community, going to drawing, like, figure drawing and whatever other kind of workshops, things like that, do you feel like you get enough to stay kind of stimulated, motivated, growing as a tattooer without traveling? Is there enough here in town for you to kind of stay driven?
Oh yeah, definitely. I do painting, sculpting, tattooing. I'm actually about to start some animation soon. So, and I think all of those
like digital
things,
animation. Or?
Yeah,
cool.
And I think all of those things help me in some way. I mean, there's occasions when I'm painting where I think I'll just have a little flash and just think about tattooing. It's like, I've got an idea about this blending method that I'm going to have to try next time.
Yeah.
Or while I'm tattooing, I think about something I was doing while I was sculpting that helped me with this shadow or something on the tattoo. And
Yeah.
so
it's more your own kind of drive and exploring other mediums that you could probably, not necessarily that there's enough going on.
Well, and also we've got like at Trilogy, we've started doing this thing where at least once a month we're sitting around and painting flash. We'll shut the shop down for the evening and we sit around and paint flash ideas together.
That's a good idea.
And you bounce off ideas off of each other and come up with cool imagery. Cole Porter, who you've done a piece with, I walked by his room the other day and saw this one-eyed cobra on his desk just from the hallway, just kind of out of the corner of my eye. And from the little I saw of it, I thought it was a one-eyed elephant. And went about my day, and the next day I saw him finishing it, and I was like, oh, crap, that's a cobra. I see what you did there, the wings and this and that. So, okay, so I can steal that elephant idea that I thought it was,
right.
And I'm going to do that. And so I did, and drew this elephant I did, and then 3 days later I tattooed it on a friend of mine, and it came out to be a great tattoo. But.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we did have Cole on. That was a good show. He did. He's an interesting guy, and he hasn't been tattooing all that long, maybe 6 or 8 years or something like that. And it's kind of it's funny, you kind of see him go through a little bit of like an evolution. It seemed like he was going super kind of geometric stipple kind of stuff that a lot of people were starting to do, and then he's just gone crazy traditional out of nowhere.
Very much so. Yeah. I think he got good as he wanted to be with the geometric stuff, and said, "Never mind, I'm going this way now."
Yeah. That stuff. Anytime I try it, it's just so tedious. I feel like I did a full day's work. At the end
absolutely.
Of the
day. Yes, it feels like factory job.
Yeah,
almost.
I don't know if you ever met Nico Roussan, who's done several guest spots here in town, but that stuff that he does is, I mean, he loves it. I mean, it's become more and more kind of organic, but it's like but it's still a ton of stippling, and then a lot of times geometry kind of scattered in between it, and it exhausts me just to watch him do it. It's just not not my forte at all. So what in town, are there many? We did Adam's drawing night together. Are there many other of those that I just don't know about, or is there just not a big?
I wish there was. I really, other than just occasionally a group of artists Like I've got friends who will occasionally just, hey, let's go all out and drink and draw.
Yeah.
And there was America Photo was doing a thing, drink and draw for a little while. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I don't think that's really an artist themed thing. That's just everybody come together and do.
Yeah.
Like Mad Libs, but with characters. But I think the Cove had a little art night before Adam was doing it, and they would just put up a model, bring your sketchbook and get free drink or something. But
not all that much.
yeah, other than that, I think it's just artist inspired.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get together and fuck around.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just something with towns this size, and maybe other people can chime in and tell us if you live in a town Memphis size, have 500,000 to 1 million people, or if it's something specific to Memphis, because we've done we're trying to do workshops here kind of regularly, and this Nick's will actually going to be our second, but we've attempted 4, and 2 of them just didn't get enough signups to actually come through. The last one that we did with Dan Marshall, who's also a great tattooer and a watercolor painter, it sold okay, but everyone from out of town. One Memphian. One Memphian. And so far, this one with Nick, who I thought Nick would sell out easily because he's so well known. He's selling, but it's people driving in town. So I've wondered, is it because I don't know the avenues, because I'm not out in their drawing groups or whatever? That
I know Crosstown does a whole lot for the artist, but it's not necessarily the physical act. It's a lot of just financial, legal matters, all this other things. They have and they have open critiques.
Really? So what?
Crosstown Arts near on Cleveland there.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know them.
Yeah, it's a great gallery, and they have a program called Hustle. That I don't know if it's once a month, maybe once a week. No, probably once a month. They get together and they talk about some artist. They'll have a panel of 4 artists who all discuss whatever topic. Mm-hmm. Like public artworks or legal issues for artists or
okay. See, that's I thought
things like that.
I knew there had to be that type of thing around. Maybe we just don't have a great hub of a place to get that information out. I don't know, and I'm sure if I were promoting to the right people, I'm just going around putting flyers out at tattoo shops and saying, hey, come to the Nick, and promoting to our following. But that's all over the world. It's not, the chances of them being in Nashville or Atlanta or Little Rock are pretty slim.
Close enough.
Yeah, they're not. It's kind of hard to justify coming in for a 1 day or 3 day workshop from wherever. The UK. Do you guys get a lot of guest artists at Trilogy or not really?
More recently, I think we'll have about 4 or 5 a year, maybe at most. One of the guest artists we had for a little while, Fifi, has just started doing 3 days a week now, permanently.
Where was she? Where was she from?
And, she's a great artist, and she's making a transition or so.
Planning to move here full time?
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder why. From Nashville Nashville's probably a much more competitive tattoo town than Memphis.
Probably, and I think geographically they're set up a lot different, where everything's pretty expensive in the center of town.
Yeah.
Spread out past that, but we have about 5 or more guest artists. A couple of guest artists that we know that do once a year or twice a year. Mm-hmm. Little rotations through Memphis will come by.
Yeah.
Some that we like their work, so we want to meet them, and they're coming through, so we'll give them a shot.
Yeah. What do you feel like you get much from guest artists when they come through? Do you sit and watch or anything like that?
Actually, I've just recently started using my rotary as a liner for the first time a few months ago.
Yeah, how are you liking that?
I'm really digging it.
Yeah.
I was kind of scared, of course, as you are, because, hey, this is permanent. I hope I don't fuck you up. But, yeah, he talked me into it, and I gave it a whirl.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been lining with the rotary for several years now. That's all I've been doing everything with the rotary for several years. Yeah. I've really gotten used to them and like them a lot. What stylistically? I mean, I follow your work on Instagram. You do a lot of kind of illustrative, a lot of very tight, detail-oriented work for the most part. What would you say? I mean, do you have any tattooers or painters that you'd say you kind of like draw from or that influence you a lot?
Way too many to even start naming without.
Anyone when you first started out that in tattooing that you felt like were?
Well, like I said, my friend Eric Cooley that got me into tattooing.
Yeah.
He he initially got me into tattooing because I was doing a lot of woodcuts with a Dremel.
Well, yeah.
And he thought that would translate somehow, even though that Dremel I'm holding like this and not like that. But I'm sure it did help. But my style was completely different then than it is now because coming out of art school where they've been spending years telling you to loosen up,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start tattooing as, hey, quit that,
Tighten up.
So it was a struggle with my style just coming into it, and I've even morphed styles a few times maybe throughout the period of tattooing.
What do you like to do? Do you have anything that you're into?
Like
more
I said,
color,
illustrative, painterly.
More color oriented than black and gray, right? For the most part, or?
Depending on the piece, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems like I've seen more color work from you than black and gray. I mean, even like sit on our drawing nights and stuff, you tend to work a little bit smaller in sketchbooks and render a lot. So tattooing was definitely kind of up your alley then, I guess.
Yeah, well, that was because of tattooing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before tattooing, I was sloppy and throwing shit around the room and wild, loose gestural movements.
Do you try to get back to that when you're painting and working outside?
Yeah, a lot. I'll paint with sticks and leaves and try my best. That's where I started. That's why I started painting with Molly, my daughter, when she was a tiny little thing. I was like, just fuck my order up, please, and make me hate it, and make me uncomfortable, make me loosen up.
And you feel like
it's not
you do.
working at all. No, I just go right behind her, and I get even tighter just to make up for it. But
have you ever watched any of those?
It has a decent effect.
Yeah. Those we used to, I guess they still do them, the art fusion projects at those at conventions where like everybody starts on a pad and then you just walk down and everybody works on everyone else's, and you'll notice like everyone when they get back to theirs, they're just constantly going back and like erasing and trying to fix it and get it back the way they're going. Like, I don't think that's the way it's supposed to work, but go ahead. It's impossible. It's hard not to do that. So let's say someone's coming here as we try to wrap up a little bit. Say someone's coming. Not to do a guest spot, but to move here to tattoo. You would, and they're trying to it's hard to say between here and another town, but here in Nashville, let's say, what would you have to say to them about like the environment, the tattoo environment in Memphis? Could they
a lot less cowboy hats, than here in Nashville. I don't know. I mean, you're gonna
struggle to build a clientele, build one fairly easily?
Yeah, you're probably going to struggle to build a clientele because there are a bunch of people here who are just loyal. There are very loyal people. Even if they bounce around between 7 artists, they're going to be loyal to who they know. You probably want to find out where the good bars are. Where the heavily tattooed people hang out and drink, and that's where you're going to meet your clientele.
Yeah, that's probably good advice.
Yeah.
As far as working at a shop, say Trilogy or just down from you guys is the tattoo spot. Is there another tattoo shop in the U of M area? Is that it? Years ago there was Marked Flesh, but they're long gone.
That was cool.
And so what would you say about coming in without a clientele? Better idea to go to that area than to come out this way?
No, there's plenty of places that have
plenty of
walk-in traffic. I think Inked maybe was a good one.
Yeah, that's true. That's here.
And then of course, just like people hitting up Pinterest, people are hitting up Yelp and Google and everything else. They're gonna. Even when I was at Illusions, I had people showing up there just based on Yelp reviews or whatever that were in town for Elvis Week, and
Yeah.
how they made it to Mississippi from downtown.
Yeah.
It's definitely no walk-in action.
Right. But you would say, I mean, you would encourage people if someone wanted to make the move. You would say, yeah, if you're a solid artist, you could probably find a niche here and make a living, and you would recommend Memphis as a tattoo town.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's plenty of serious collectors and people who want good work.
Yeah.
That if you're a good enough artist, you're gonna make a good spot for yourself here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I'm curious to see as we go forward with the Memphis artists here if everyone thinks that way. But I think that it's, you know, when I go into some of these towns and they're so competitive, so many shops, so many great artists. You know, like it's amazing how many good artists are in, you know, in Atlanta for or even, you know, Nashville, and it's here there are a good group of artists. There's some real solid tattooers, but I think that, you know, as a whole, it's probably maybe less developed than some as a tattoo community than some of those others, and maybe a great spot for you to come in and, you know, and carve out a niche for yourself. If someone wants to get tattooed, track you down, where do they find you?
TrilogyMemphis.com, I believe, is our website.
They book just through the website or through the phone? Call the front desk?
Yeah, call the desk.
Yeah. And you guys are doing guest spots from time to time?
Yeah, we do accept guest artists.
Yeah, so check them out if you're curious and want to come tattoo just to see what you think about Memphis. Trilogy's a cool spot, and it's right on the Highland Strip. There's tons of that is like, that thing is taken off. There's so much there now.
Oh, yeah. Big redevelopment. Lots of new stuff.
Yeah, looks really cool. So, thank you guys. We'll do another one of these. Let us know what you think. And like I said, if you wanted, if you want us to check out your town, consider coming to your town. Maybe shoot us an email and tell us why. You can shoot it to Jake at Fireside Tats or info at Fireside.
At least 5 valid reasons why.
5 valid reasons why? Oh, all right. Yeah, that sounds good. And if you make a video, it'd be even better. Send a video.
Okay, one valid reason would be a real solid brewery.
Yeah, good breweries. That's a good reason.
We don't care about the tattooers. We just want to drink.
Yeah, there are tons of good reasons, I'm sure, that come to wherever your town is. Go to tattooimprovement.com, sign up, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and all those things, and we will see you next time. And sign up, come meet us at one of these events that we're going to. We're running all over the country. At least come say hi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right.